How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to House of Fata Morgana, Requiem for Innocence. We're back following Jacopo's rise as a lord, and now it's been a full year, and he's been working with a consul who used to work with the former Lord Baroner, and he's taken up the old name, which, made sense why he did so. And now we're going to see what's the fruit of the choices he's been making lately. Yeah, it's gonna be great, huh? I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, let's just get ready for watching somebody who, we pretty much could all agree was on the right side of things. I was trying to do good. But what's gonna happen is the power corrupts. And we're gonna probably see that firsthand here. So let's buckle up, get ready to go. Let's jump right in. Hard to believe it's been a whole year. Feels like I only just started yesterday, yet also like I've been doing this forever. You are looking somewhat worse for wear, my lord. Do I? Who am I kidding? You're right. On the other hand, you don't look like you've even lost an hour of sleep this entire year. Goes to show how inexperienced I really am. While it's true that I have been in a position for many years, I also do not bear nearly as much responsibility as you. I merely stand in the background and offer you small pieces of advice. All the while, you face the crowds directly, negotiate with counts, make dozens of difficult decisions. There is one thing I have learned in all my years. It is that I could never begin to imagine the weight a ruler must carry. Never mind one who was never raised to take that throne and thrust himself into the labyrinth of politics and high society. 'Twould be a greater surprise if the trials had not taken their toll. That reminds me, Baroner was a lord of a full decade before we took him out, weren't he? As I recall, he wasn't as much of a despot early on. If just 1 year has taken this much out of me, how much longer before I'm no longer able to act like a reasonable human being? No, don't think about that, Jacopo. Actually, forget it. What matters is that we seem to be doing a good job minimizing discontent. Indeed. You have successfully made it through the first year. The city is decidedly more presentable than it was when you took the throne. There are precious few who could replicate your accomplishments in such a short time, my lord. You would do well to take pride in your work. Pushing to do everything so quickly has taken its toll. The people are worn thin, slaves are dying by the droves. I still have a ways to go before there's anything that can be proud of. Slaves are the tools of progress, my lord. Tools do not last forever and must be replaced regularly. And you can't build a house with bare hands, I get it. You learn quickly. Not even a year ago, I would have been up in arms about the number of slaves dying. But now, they're just numbers to me. Apparently, my worldview has changed quite a bit. It's about time we started considering our next step. Meaning? Meaning your efforts thus far have merely been toward repairing damage caused by your predecessor. You make it sound like this all has just been a warm-up. My apologies. I did not mean to discourage your great efforts, discount your great efforts, my lord. I was simply speaking of the greater scheme. Yeah, I got that. You want to settle the direction for how to grow the city, right? Indeed. The status quo is vastly inadequate for bringing prosperity to this land. And there's no saying when the surrounding territories may cease being so friendly, and set their eyes upon conquering us. But of course, you cannot keep your eyes trained outward in fear of attack and allow the land to devour itself from the inside either. So what you're saying is, it's a balancing act. Precisely. So, what kind of advancements do I want to pursue? There's something that's been on my mind. This land is ill-suited for growing crops. When I lived down in the slums, I had no perspective and figured that what we produced here was no different than anywhere else. But now I know better. The grapes used for our wine are miserable compared to what I've been served elsewhere, and it's nearly everything else we grow. I can only assume the land itself is to blame. Oh ho ho, the wine from the south is indeed exceptional. You quite nearly gave me a heart attack when you leapt from your chair in the middle of the meeting. shouting, "This is nothing like the wine from home." Enough! That never happened. It was my first time tasting anything like it, alright? Anyone would have had the same reaction. Oh, you have grown much, but nevertheless, you are still quite green. God, I really need to watch myself around this man. In any case, it would be ideal if we could begin producing higher quality grapes, not necessarily to compete with the South, but enough to be serviceable. Efforts to improve our farmland are underway, although it could take some time before we see the progress. Have you any propositions, my lord? Actually, I was thinking it might be best to cut back on agriculture. Do elaborate. What if we were to build the city into a trade hub of sorts? Meaning you wish to open our gate to our neighbors? Exactly. One thing the city has got going for its wealth is the wealth of artisans. But for years, we've only ever exported our goods. I want to bring people here to purchase. We reduce taxes for merchants and give them special privileges. Set tariffs and border taxes lower than they are in the capital. And business will naturally find its way here. This land may be less than optimal for farming, but it's more than adequate for trade. We're in a convenient location to serve as a hub for the surrounding realms. Rather than close our borders and wall ourselves off entirely, opening up and making ourselves of value to our neighbors is far more likely to dissuade potential invasion. We're all pieces on one another's board, isn't that right? Who says that can't apply to the entire city? The best way to expand without stepping on anyone's toes is to do it in a way that benefits them as well as us. What do you think? A rather aggressive strategy you propose, my lord. If I may be so bold, there will be many obstacles to this plan's success. You will need to arrange meetings with the head of each realm you intend to invite, in order or timing of which will be crucial to its success. Furthermore, the influx of outsiders will be a source of much tension among your people. So you think I'm aiming too high? You are indeed aiming exceedingly high. Your obstacles will be numerous and precipitous. Nonetheless, obstacles can be overcome. Your exhaustion is nothing compared to the weariness that awaits you down this path. Do be well aware of this, my lord. You're darn right I am. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to go all in. Interesting. He's got a good idea, though. Like, if crops aren't really working, looking on other sources is a good idea, balancing the books, but what is he sacrificing to do it? The Lord's Manor stood on topless Hall Hill. Gazing out, the city stretched before me. Countless columns of smoke rising from the buildings, the people scurrying about like so many ants. From up here, I had the perfect view of the bustle of the city, but I was too far away to feel the life breathing through it. I think I used to be one of those tiny little specks. Thousands of people lived there. They had families, jobs, friends, hobbies. But as much as I was cognizant of the fact, I no longer grasped it on anything other than a conceptual level. It was incredible just how much my view of the world had changed merely in a year's time. I'm going to go out into the world, I said. I thought that clawing my way to the top of the ladder would let me see it, would let me experience it. That with power, I could have the whole world at my fingertips. But reality wasn't so simple. This sure isn't what I was looking for. Hell, I feel like a chain's just gotten tighter around my neck. There's no way to truly grasp the view from this height without climbing up and seeing it for yourself. And that was exactly where it was a year ago, blind to the reality of life in the upper echelons. Fantasizing about a world that didn't exist. Unlike the me of the past, I did have the satisfaction of feeling like I was accomplishing big things. But was that really worth cutting myself off from all my friends? I really don't understand why he didn't hire them at the palace. He could have given them jobs, kept them around. Did those achievements really justify a bloody revolution? Or I suppose I should ask, was this work valuable enough to me to justify it all? Reminiscing about days long gone wasn't going to help anything, and in fact, it only served to cause me pain. I couldn't return to that time. This was where my quest for power had brought me, and now I had to live out my days as lord of this land. Telling myself day after day that it was far better than being powerless slum rat. God, I've been so busy these past few weeks. My eyes are... One day I'll show you the world. Do you ever get tired of saying that? You've got to think big, dream. The world's changing all around us. A life just fighting to make it day by day is hardly a life at all. I don't want to spend the rest of my days confined in this tiny little corner of the world. Well, try not to let your dreams grow so big they crush you. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll just have you sing for me if it ever gets to be overwhelming. Why would I be there? Why wouldn't you? It's hard to show you the world if I don't bring you with me. Knowing you still won't know where you want to go. So I'll bring you with me. We can find a place for you together. Pretty good deal, huh? I don't need to see the world. All I want is... And yet, where he takes it eventually, back where it circles back around. How? I still, even here, where I've seen the beginning of why he makes the decisions he does and what led to the whole spiraling insanity at the church that's going to be coming, I still am struggling to see how he connects. And because there's no way he doesn't realize it's Morgana, right? I'm pretty sure we confirmed that he knew it was her, was ashamed of his choice, but he still made the choice. So what on earth is going to push him so far that he would still make that decision? Doze off for a second there. Feels like those days were an eternity ago. I don't need to see the world. All I want is... All you want is what? Morgana. What were you trying to tell me? Man, it feels like a whole different place here now. You think? Looks just like the same old nasty dump it's always been. He's talking about the whole city, adult. Exactly. Things are on the up and up in the city proper, but we ain't seen a scrap of it down here. Heck's up with that? All the new shops spilling out past the city border, the highway to town's turned into a full-blown bazaar. Ooh, that sounds nice. Is there anything that darn head of yours? We're saying, how come we're still living like rats if they got enough to spare coin to build all the market space? Heck, with all these darn immigrants coming in, the slums are even bigger a crap hole than before. You know, I never thought much about it till now, but you're right. The gang's been a lot busier lately with all the drifters. And Jacopo, or Lord Barreter, ain't shown his mug down here even once since he took over. I mean, I get the bloody lord could have to spend all day hanging out in the slums, but he could at least visit. Instead, he's spending all his time buddying up with the rich folk. And we used to be good friends, too. I wonder if he's planning on not just bothering with us at all. I hope not, but it sure is what it's looking like. You think he'd at least throw a bone rather than letting the merchants and upper class take coin baths in his coffers. Guess when he became one of them, he became just like them, too. Feels like we're in the exact same place we were a year ago. He's no different than the old Mariner. Psst. Psst. God, oh, it's you. So, you find anything? Yep, got proof you were looking for. But you'd be so kind as to never give me a job like this again. I'd be hanged thrice over if the nobles found out I was sniffing around their business. Oh, quite a beat. Quit being such a bee. You didn't steal nothing or kill anyone. You got fined. A man's secrets can sometimes be worth his life more than his life. But on to business. Your suspicions were correct. Well, F me sideways. Here's your pay. Take it and piss off. Nice doing Hey, hold up! I risked my neck to get that for you, and this is all I get in return? Got a problem with that, you little bee? No, sir. Don't you worry. You'll get your fair due shortly. Did he learn Jacopo's secret? These construction costs are really starting to pile up. Can't we put the manor's repairs off until we've taken more of the pressing matters? Like using that money to help the poor. The Lord and his residents are the face of his land. If you wish the city to continue thriving upon the fruits of your relationships with the surrounding realms, you must maintain a minimum level of respectability, my lord. Merchants in particular are merciless judges of appearance. Of this you can be certain. No respectable merchant will do business on equal terms with a city whose lord refuses to take care of his home. I get that, but still, it's so much money. These are necessary expenses. To acquire the resources required to aid the lower class, we must increase the rate of production. Efforts must begin at the top and gradually work down. You must not be in such a great rush, my lord. The work you are performing is on a much larger, longer scale than perhaps that of which you are accustomed. You have a point. Then let's construction continue. I'm definitely coming to see how crucial a bit of embellishment can be surviving in high society. Every engagement is like throwing myself into a lion's den. Everyone's surrounding me, measuring me up. They question my pedigree, some with their eyes, some with their mouths. Some even attempt to dig up dirt on me in order to tilt the scales in their favor. Oh yeah, and there was that one time when I was straight up shouted at, right to my face. You're no more than a damn noble more of a damn noble than any of those other rats whose nests you crawled out of, if I recall. Not that he was wrong. I took the throne by force. It's only natural that people are going to have their suspicions. I came from the slums just as the icing on the cake. I'm darn lucky if condescension is the worst treatment I get on the first encounter. And then there are the distant relatives Baroner let slip through the cracks, slithering back up to assert their rights to the land. There are a lot more people out to get me than I first anticipated. Do remain strong, my lord. I will always be strong. If I so much as let these wolves smell weakness, they'll pounce all over me. Like hell, I'm gonna let that happen. I won't have the time to work on helping the poor if I have to spend my days fending off packs of bloodthirsty nobles. I must always appear strong under any circumstances. I, of all people, should know just how easily a lord can be dethroned. And I'll be next to leave if even the slightest opening. Lovely. I have to do what it takes to make sure that's not my future. Perhaps you should get some rest, my lord. Excuse me? Are you insane? I have to review the construction budget so that... Allow me to handle that. I will get you something to drink. Perhaps a glass of that southern wine you're so fond of. It is quite sweet, perfect for alleviating built-up fatigue. I am not fatigued. Come now. Please, take this request from an overly concerned consul, my lord. Fine, you win. It's hard to believe it's only been a year and a half. I feel like we go way back. Oh, we do see each other quite every other day, after all. I'm starting to crave some variety, to be honest. I never found a good opportunity to ask you this, but... Yes. Do you have any family? Because if you do, you're more than welcome to have them live here. I appreciate your concern, my lord, but they have all passed away. All of them? Indeed. My entire family was eradicated at the previous lord's order. Are you freaking serious? Once, and only once, I offered him my humble opinion. So infuriated was he by my insolence that he had my family murdered. Jeez. I would have much preferred myself killed in their stead. But he was a man who reviled another's suffering. And you just kept on serving him? That is correct. Keep in mind, though, he waited for the proper opportunity and did make sure that he got his revenge. I acted his loyal servant, too afraid to speak up again. Acted? Recall what I said when we first met. I was sitting in wait for the perfect opportunity. Now you understand why. Well, damn. And if I may come clean at that time, I had every intention of disposing of the revolution's puppet master. Never once did I trust Genera, her foolish motives were plain as day. And the new lord's mother, she planned to control her planted usurper from the shadows, acting as an effective governor of the land. Having no family left myself, the city and its people are like my children. So I refused to stand by and allow her to turn them to tools to satisfy her own avarice. The land would hardly survive a tyrant sweeping in to replace a tyrant. But she was removed from the board by the former lord before she had a chance to see her aspirations to fruition. Knowing she was no longer a danger, I decided I would wait and see how the successor fared before taking any further action, to determine if you were sufficient to serve as lord of this land. And I guess I passed, huh? Are you not upset, my lord? Nothing to be upset about. You never hid the fact that you acted of your own interests. If a piece had no value to you, you discarded it. And I always knew there was more to you than you were telling me. I'll just say, I'm relieved to be standing here. Oh, if only you knew how close you were to falling on the other side of that line. Am I really on edge? After all the work I put into this? While you do have a rare aptitude and strength of spirit, you are still much too easily swayed by your emotions. Ergo, I shall continue to instruct you until you are able to fully satisfy my expectations. 'Tis rather curious. So oft do we speak, so great our time together. I have come to think of you as my second son. Don't get all mushy on me, old man. We're not friends. We're not family. I'm a pawn on your board and you're a pawn on mine. Strictly business. My apologies. I never said a word. Right. Never happened. Moving right along. You just keep doing what you do best. At your service, my lord. Out of curiosity, do we have any free hands around capable of riding a horse? For what purpose? There's someone I want found. Whoever it may be your wish to find, my lord, I am obligated to remind you that you don't even have to finish that. I know. I suppose to leave the past in the past. Let us see, then. Your men have their hands rather full at present, though we can perhaps arrange for one of them to be reassigned. Are you sure? 'Tis a small request. Not one in your entire tenure have you requested to use your men for personal matters. I believe we can spare a hand or two on such a rare occasion. Much appreciated. Shall I arrange for them to set off immediately? Please. I'm looking for a girl. If she's alive, she'll look around 13 or 14. And she has unusual markings on her face. Markings akin to burn scars. Baroner once imprisoned her in this manner. He used her as a prop for his banquets, cutting her up from head to toe. My guess is that the patches on her face are the result of Baroner's abuse. Indeed, I know the girl. I presume she had no survivors. She had not survived the slave revolt. I take it you can care quite deeply about this girl, my lord. Then allow me to offer the sincerest apologies in his stead. No need to apologize. Will you help me find her, Odilion? I will oversee this search operation personally, to the best of my ability, my lord. I pray the girl is still alive. As do I, unlikely as it may be. I'm just chasing after a sliver of a dream that shattered long ago. That said, if you do find her alive, bring her here without telling her that it's at the Lord's order. She'll likely assume it's the old Baroner who's after her if you say anything. And if she happens to have found a new home where she's happy, just leave her be. Understood. Time drifted slowly onward. And as anticipated, there was no news regarding her whereabouts. But new shops and stalls continued opening in the city, with them coming a steady flow of travelers and passing merchants. And as traffic through the city increased, so too did the number of people seeking an audience with me. I was getting busier by the day. My plans to attract merchants and artisans from the capital had worked, and every one of them seemed to have a bigger, more ambitious proposition than the last. My days became a cycle of meetings, reviewing propositions, balancing a budget, deciding whether the proceeds are postponed, and amidst all the turmoil, should have done that in all one breath. My thoughts drifted ever further from the poorest of my people. And that's the last of today's meetings. There's no end in sight to this. That is the good thing, my lord. It means you have succeeded in drawing traffic to the city. I guess, but still, need to get back and review all the proposals, so... Lord Baroner, a moment. I don't have a moment to spare. A townsperson requested audience with the Lord. You have been instructed to deny entry to commoners. I tried, but he refuses to leave the gate. Hold on. What's this man's name? Sir, he calls himself Gratien. Oh, crap. Is it really him? Let him in, by all means. My lord, you mustn't give anyone special treatment. Gratien isn't just anyone. We've been through hell and back together. He wouldn't be here if it wasn't important. I should hear what he has to say. No, my lord, you cannot. Your past is... He's a good friend. I'm not sending him away. That's not even on the table. Friend or not, you mustn't give him an audience. You are the Lord Lao. He is a mere peasant. You cannot be certain he will hold himself with proper decorum. I don't appreciate what you're implying about my friend, old man. He's no goddamn brute. Do you remember Gratien? I imply nothing, my lord. Keep your counsel to topics you actually know something about. I'm not going to stand by and listen to anyone insult my friends, not even you. My lord, I must remind you yet again, you keep your temper in check. God, that's enough out of you. I'm done. Not another word on the subject. My lord. Hey, guard, open the gate. Yes, sir. Sup, Jacopo? It's been ages. Feels like forever. How have you been doing? Never been better. How about you, kid? Show proper respect to your lord, peasant. You are to refer to him as Lord Baroner, not any false names he may have responded to while in hiding. Seriously? You ain't gonna let him kick back even for a buddy? Enough, Odilion. He can call me by my old name. But my lord, I said I've heard enough from you. Hell, look at you, taking charge and barking orders, all important like. You're like a whole new man, my lord. Please, you can use my name. I'm dead serious though. Hard to believe it ain't even been 2 years. You seriously look like a whole new man. You think so? I don't feel like I've changed all that much myself. I don't know, yeah, just, what's the word? Eliminate lordliness now. Guess it don't take long for nobles to turn them into one of them, no matter how far down the chain you come from. And look at this room. Look at all the fancy effing furnishings. None of this old Baroner stuff, is it? Nope. All the meetings I've been having, I need to make sure I have a room that's nice and presentable. Well, that's one way of putting it. Hey, don't think I'm just throwing around money for the fun of it. If I want to pull any negotiation, I need to look like I had. No need to explain yourself, kid. I totally get it. It ain't easy dealing with a bunch of Rick's vultures sticks up their butts. I appreciate it. Anyway, what brings you here today? Whoa, bud. Do I need a reason to visit a friend? Can't a guy just want to hang out and catch up? Come on. I never said that. I'm just extremely busy at the moment. I don't have much time to spare for anyone. Come on, don't be such a tight. That's exactly why I'm here. To make sure you don't get that stick up your butt so Del Diva punctures your brain. You gotta let loose sometimes. I suppose. Thank you for your concern. So let's get sloshed, just like the old days. I even brought the booze. I wish I could, but I don't have the time. You'll drink with merchants and rich snobs, but not me. That stings, kid. Right in the gut. I see you're as pushy as ever. Alright, fine. 1 drink in the back room. Ha, that's what I'm talking about. My lord. It'll be fine, Odilion. We'll go back years. There's nothing wrong with a couple friends sharing drinks after hours. If you insist, my lord, but the peasant must leave his blade behind. I will not, under any circumstances, allow you to be alone with an armed slum dweller. Sheesh, everyone here needs to loosen up, huh? You seriously think I'm gonna pull a sword on an old pal? Humor me. Whatever, fine, you win, old-timer. Happy now? Yes. Sorry about that, Gratien. Odilion's on edge. Nothing personal. Yeah, it's cool. Can't say I blame him. Now let's get trashed. Brought a little something from the pub we used to haunt. Bet you'd usually drink way better crap than this now you're a friggin' lord. But it'll be like old times, you know? This reminds you of the time we had that drinking contest. Wanna go another round? I'll have to refrain. Odilion would murder me if I did that. Sounds like the geezer's got you by the balls, huh? No fun allowed up here in the Lord's house? It can be rather suffocating, yeah. Well, you can't let her loose. You can at least let her loose today. Told times, kid. Told times. Now this is a sight I never dreamed of. Two of us here at the Lord's Manor, drinking together. We were both slaves when we met, for goodness sake. No effing joke. I never got what life will bring you. Been almost 5 years since then. You weren't even 20 yet. I expect we've both grown quite a bit since those days. Or are you still running around like a wild boar even now? Hard to say. Don't think I'm as bad as I used to be. But getting into crap just comes to the territory, you know? And the slums are still the same as ever. I see. So how's everyone doing down there? We're scraping by as usual. The rest of the gang? And Maria? The guys still lays around the pub all day. Maria's rebuilt the brothel. She's getting by as best she can. Obviously not the same place, and it's smaller than the old one. But for a chick, she's doing alright by herself. I'm glad to hear it. So tell me, kid, you and her totally had a thing, yeah? Where on earth did that come from? I believe I've already told you, no, we didn't. Just seems like she's about 10 times more worried about you than anyone else. It must have been something. Don't make sense otherwise. Maybe she just had a thing for you and you never saw it. Poor girl. There were no romantic feelings on either side. We were friends. Simple as that. Nothing more, nothing less. Have you seen those honkers? What does that have to do with anything? It just don't make sense. How can a guy only be friends with a chick? It just means we value certain things in life differently. You know, you do like that sometimes. Get all weirdly noble like that. Hey, I didn't mean it as a jab. It has nothing to do with being noble. Maria's special. We've known each other most of our lives. We survived hell together. Oh yeah, and you mentioned that before, didn't you? That you two have known each other longer than anyone else. What was it like back then for the two of you? Before I met her, Maria was raised in an orphanage. She said she ran off because she and the director didn't get along. Ha, can't say I'm surprised. How about you? I hardly remember anything from before I came to the city. Just bits and pieces of what my mother told me. Being guarded by a bunch of men, being kidnapped by bandits. You mean that noble woman? Real shame you had to lose her something so soon after reuniting, huh? Indeed it is. Don't you think it's about time you cut the crap? Excuse me? You're not a baroner. You didn't inherit the throne. You're just a darn fraud. Ain't that right, Jacopo? What are you talking? Finally started to kick in, looks like. God, you got any idea how hard it was not to throttle you the entire conversation? What? Oh my gosh, he actually tried to poison him! Almost out of nowhere, my heart rate skyrocketed and my legs started trembling so violently I had to lean against the wall to support myself. The whole world started swirling. And all I could do was just barely make out my old friend glaring at me through the fog. How you like that? Feel like your heart's about to burst, don't it? Don't you worry, kid. You won't be fooling nothing soon. You poisoned the drinks? What? Why would you? Why? You seriously need me to spell it out for you? Huh, you've been stuffing in here your head filled with rainbows up here? You want to know what they call you down the slums? Jacopo the Betrayer. I did not betray. You take one gosh darn look at the city and tell me that again. Why are you up here treating anyone with a cart, some trinkets to sell like effing royalty, and the slums is still the same rat's nest you left it in? Now we're even worse off. With your new marketplace, anyone can turn a little bit of money into a big old pile of gold. But if you got nothing to bargain with, you're just dead in the street. and you're doing is making the rich even richer. No, I'm trying. I wanted to explain how everything planned out, how I'd first needed to improve the economy as a whole before I could turn my attention to the less well-off. That nothing changed was proof I was protecting them, that the slums had been in danger of being eradicated entirely. I had stopped it. That I could see in his eyes that nothing I said would convince him. As far as he was concerned, I was pure evil. You're not the man you used to be. Gratien, why? I thought you believed in me. You're darn right I did. And then you went and fed a bunch of lies. You called yourself the rightful heir. You called yourself the baroner. But you did my digging. And you don't get a lick of royal blood in you. All you ever wanted was to line your pockets, you selfish bee. No, you never had any intention of helping us. Please, hear me out, Gratien. We were all just pawns to you. The whole damn revolution was part of your game. I'm begging you. How does it feel knowing the throne's back in the seat, sits in the backs of the people you betrayed? Please. You don't have any right to call yourself the goddamn lord. Gratien! Hell, you barely have any right to call yourself an effing man. You're just a rat in fancy clothes. Should have been me. I would have made an indefinitely better lord than you ever were. If only I'd had the ring, that it could have been me. So that's what this is all about. In a flash, everything I once felt for this man, all the friendship, the camaraderie, the sympathy, went cold. As much as he tried to dress up his whole farce, that was where his heart truly was. He was just sour about not being the one who got to be the lord. Not really true. He believed himself superior. He's got himself caught up in this stupid fit of jealousy. And now he's trying to kill me over it. That's seriously all this is? Are you listening to a word you're saying? What was that? You're the one who's not man he used to be. And you're the one who's being a self-centered bastard. Talk all you want, dead man. The Gratien I knew would never have resorted to using poison. He'd have drawn his sword the second he passed through those gates and faced me like a man. But look at you. Even Baroner had more spine than you. You dare compare me to that sack of crap? Alright, fine, I'll play it your way. He had a knife hidden in him. An instant later, Gratien was brandishing a short blade. He had snuck it under his clothes, I presumed. I was almost amazed at how thoroughly prepared he was. He'd never had any intention of this going any other way. He hadn't come to talk. He was never going to hear me out. He was here to do one thing and one thing only. And I doubted he had any plans for what would come next. Raw hatred was all that fueled him. He wouldn't take my place after killing me. He wouldn't work himself to the bone to ensure the city kept running. He didn't give a single damn about any of that. You scum! I won't be taken down by some worthless self-absorbed rat. Nothing I'd ever tried had been enough to best Gratien in combat. And that was when I was at my peak, not with a myriad of needles of poison prickling my every pore, barely able to stand under my own weight. But still, I had no intention of surrendering my life to this cur. I took in a deep breath, clenched my teeth, shouted at my shaking limbs. Move! 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 Move, damn you! My fingers, I couldn't feel them again. I could feel them again. Before the thought finished passing through my mind, my hand reached for a blade. Grasping the rapier hanging from the wall, I swiftly drew it from its scabbard. It was a decorative blade, not meant for combat. It would probably bounce right off Gratien's muscular chest. But there was one place I could target. Rot in hell, you son of a bitch! Knife in hand, he lunged at me. Just moments before death befell me, my vision blurred by the poison grew unbelievably clear. Gratien almost appeared to be moving in slow motion. I wasn't sure my mind had ever been so clear, so sharp in battle before. The dying embers of my fading life burned anew into a blazing inferno. Ah! Unlike my fight with Baroner, this one was over in an instant. Before I had time to breathe or even blink, it was settled. And in that same instant, everything I'd built up with this man turned into dust. I had never once defeated him. For as long as I'd known him, I was always, always, always number 2. And now, for the very first time, I won. Why did it have to be you there and not me? The blade of the rapier in my hand skewered Gratien's throat. His mouth flapped open and shut like a fish. He glared at me, face twisted in a mixture of hatred and agony, spurting fragments of contempt, until the life drained from his eyes. My first victory against my old friend also took his life, and it happened in a blink of an eye, hardly enough time to even register in my mind. God. My lord, what was all the commotion? What happened? My lord, please stay with me. Were you poisoned? Someone! Is anyone there? Yes, sir. A doctor, as quickly as you can. Aye. My lord, please, my lord. A doctor will be here shortly. Please stay with me just a little longer. My lord. Odilion, you were right. I was stupid. I should have listened. I thought he was my friend, but he wasn't. Not anymore. And because we had once been friends, that made him my greatest threat. Dang. I think we're going to send it here. Because I think we're seeing the seeds now. I think I'm starting to understand. Naturally, he's going to be paranoid. I remember him being so paranoid. And this is the beginning. Someone he considered one of his best friends tried to murder him. And now he's going to fear anyone who knew who he was. And he's going to be afraid that somebody else in the gang knows who he actually is. I think I know what's coming next. The scouring of the slums. That's what happens, isn't it? Dang. Here it all comes tumbling away, doesn't it? We'll have to see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys have been enjoying and participating in the voting. Today, when this goes live, we should have another round of voting going on. Another round of elimination. We actually will probably have the winners of 2 of the categories this evening, but there's a couple others that are a lot closer races, so we're going to have to see another couple rounds of those, I think. But if you haven't been able to vote for them, please go take the time to do so. Just take a few seconds. You find it either on the Discord, you can find it linked in the announcements page, or you just go to the communities tab and you find the polls there. Just follow the link, go to the poll, cast your vote for the game you're most interested in seeing on the channel, and we're going to figure out what we're going to be exploring in the next year. So it's a really good chance for you to kind of have some say in what's going to be on the channel. While we had a great number of participants, I know there's a lot more people out there who haven't been voting than have been voting. So please, if you want to, take the time. It just takes a few seconds to really get your voice out there. And who knows, maybe one of your favorite games is available to be played on the channel. You can watch it with me, be experienced by me for the first time. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you especially to the patrons. You guys are amazing. Having so many new patrons has been wonderful. I can't wait to try and make it worth your while in every conceivable way. And February is a short month, but it's the start of a new year. There's a lot of excitement going on. So thank you for your support, and thank you for watching. Even if you just spend a little bit of time here giving likes and everything, it means the world. It makes a big difference. So thank you. And until next video watching me, up to see me next. I'll see you there.